Nithyananda. This is Sri Nithya Tirtharupananda, and I am currently sitting in the Sadashiva Mantapam of the Nithyanandeshwara Sadashiva and Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Temple in Bengaluru Adinam, where Swamy Nithyananda lives with his disciples. So today I want to share about incident that brings a big smile on my face when I think about it. And this happened maybe about 6 or 7 weeks ago. So I had heard that Swamiji was going to inaugurate the Panchamukhi Anjaneya Temple in Ramnagara. So this is a traditional Hindu temple, and I have been in the past with Swamiji to Ramnagara. This is probably about 8 or 9 years back, and it was an amazing experience. We were a big group, and it was the annual village fair, and we climbed up the hill, and I really had very good memories. And so I was definitely looking forward to this trip to Ramnagara. So Ramnagara is the next town over from the Adinam on the Bangalore-Mysore road. And it's probably about 10 miles down from our Adinam. So I woke up that morning, and I had actually forgotten that the temple in Ramnagara was being inaugurated by Swamiji on that day. And I was walking in the Adinam, and I saw it was literally empty that morning. And very quickly I realized, the reason it's empty is because all the people have gone for this temple inauguration. And so I quickly kind of finished up whatever I needed to do, and I made my way to the Adinam main gate, and I was trying to figure out a way to get to this inauguration. As soon as I got there, this kind of delivery vehicle pulled up, and I was looking to see if I could get a ride with them, and I looked, and they said yes, hop on back. And so I kind of got on the back of the vehicle, and I had this open air ride to Ramnagara, which was quite fun. And we arrived at the temple in Ramnagara, and so Ramnagara is as the name suggests, the place of Ram is deeply woven with the story of Sri Ramachandra Prabhu. So Sri Ramachandra Prabhu, when he was in Vanavas or exile, he spent time in Ramnagara, and there's also there's a story about Kakeshwara, about the crow, some incident with Sri Rama in the place. And whenever you have Sri Rama, you have Sri Anjaneyaswami. And so this temple that was being inaugurated was dedicated to Sri Anjaneyaswami, or Hanuman as he is more popularly known. So I got down from this vehicle, and there were a crowd of people waiting by the front of the temple, waiting to welcome the other dignitaries who were arriving, as well as welcome Swamiji. And so I spent some time there. There were some ceremonial dances. I think it was a male dancer. It was a Veera Shaiva dance. It was quite, I really enjoyed that small town mood there, and the ceremonies. And then I entered the temple. The temple itself was beautifully decorated. It had these banana trees in the front on both sides at various points. They had strung a lot of flowers, and there was a Homakunda that was decorated with some Rangoli. And then I entered the temple, and right in front there was a Swayambhu Anjaneya. So this is a self-formed stone idol that had been worshipped by the locals for a long time. And this temple was where they were actually built a somewhat modern structure to house both this Swayambhu Anjaneya, as well as the Panchamukhi, which is a 5-faced statue of Sri Hanuman. And so the Swayambhu Anjaneya was covered with a kavacha, or a metal. It was clad with like a metal plate, and it looked beautiful. They had decorated it, done it up for for the inauguration. And then I went into sort of the inner sanctum, the Garbhagriha, where the Panchamukhi Anjaneya was standing. It was just a really beautiful statue. And I heard some stories about the place and how this they had been worshipping Anjaneya for a very long time here. Anyway, I made my rounds from the temple. I went out and I noticed that we were actually quite, by we, I mean Nithyananda Sangha was quite involved in this inauguration. We had a medical camp going. We were doing Annadana. We also had a Shiva Stamba demonstration scheduled. I saw a Shiva Stamba pole there. And sometime later, Swamiji arrived, and people were very excited. They welcomed him in the traditional way with the Purna Kumbha, which is given for, which is presented to the enlightened master when he arrives. And after he spent some time, Swamiji kind of came into the temple, and he made his way to the deity of the Panchamukhi Anjaneya, and this is after he paid his respects to the Swayambhu Anjaneya. He went inside, and he had this stalk of dhruva grass which he was using to do the Prana pratishtha. And he was really blocked off by this huge gang of media people, who had their cameras up, so you could barely see Swamiji. And there were even more people from the media who wanted access. And while Swamiji was doing the Prana pratishtha, there was like a fight broke out in the back. And somehow whenever Swamiji comes in public, he's like a rock star. And the media just, can't get enough of him. Anyway, so Swamiji, he spent about 4 or 5 minutes. I guess he completed the Prana pratishtha and he left. He went out, and I was thinking he would be there for some time, but to my surprise, I discovered he had actually left. And anyway, I realized that he was done. And then I went outside, and I was, with our various teams doing these activities. And I noticed there was a loudspeaker in the temple from which they were inviting people from all over. Across the street, there was a Zilla Parishad office, the Ramnagara Zilla Parishad, which was a building that's like a miniature Vidhan Sauda. And they were inviting people from there to come and enjoy the Annadana. And then on the side of the temple, there was a engineering college which had a mosque, and they were inviting the students from the engineering college to come and celebrate the inauguration and have their lunch. And so I kind of made my way back into the temple, and the priest was doing some sevas or some temple rituals in the front, and I tried to go. There was crowded, and I decided I'm just going to sit down in the back. I come back in the back, and as I was standing in the back, a kind of sweetness just descended on me. Just the space was feeling so sweet. I just kind of settled. I sat on the ground, and it's very subtle, but I was feeling, oh my God, I could sit here for a very long time. It feels so wonderful to be here. And I was settling down, and however, I didn't stay for too long because I realized there were things we needed to do and people needed help. So I got up, I went outside, and I spent a few more hours there. And then in the mid-afternoon, I left. I went back to the Adinam. And as I was reflecting on what happened, I realized that my experience in the space was when I sat down, I was experiencing the sweetness there was completely different from my experience in the morning when I kind of examined the space before Swamiji arrived. And then I realized that before Swamiji arrived, all we had was the structure, the building, and like matter, just basic matter, whether it was a deity or the construction, the building. However, after the Prana pratishtha, Swamiji, Prana pratishtha is the action, is the process by which the incarnation or the avatar infuses life into matter, and the matter in this case is the deity. And because of this Prana pratishtha, the deity becomes an independent intelligence or an expression of the divine cosmic energy that is now able to listen to people's prayers and answer them and do healing for people and grant boons as well. And this sweetness I had experienced was, Swamiji, who is a giant of yogic power and of the enlightened consciousness. What had happened is I had just experienced the power of Swamiji's Prana Pratishta. Nithyananda.